What's going on, YouTube? So Chevy has been on an absolute tear, making new crossovers to meet almost anyone's lifestyle. Now, we originally drove the 600 horsepower Chevy Blazer EV SS a few months back, but now it's time for us to live with it for a full week. So did living with this fast yet practical Blazer EV SS make us love it? Let's go ahead and find out.
Now let's start things with a quick spec dump. As Mason mentioned in the intro, this is an electric product, so this has a 102 kilowatt hour lithium ion battery paired to standard dual motor all-wheel drive for the SS model, making a whopping 615 horsepower. But with all that power, you still have a very impressive range of 303 miles.
Now, the base price for the EV SS Blazer is $60,000, and if you're looking to buy one or any new vehicle, we'd encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes to get the best price. Now, of course, this is a real-world 7-day review, so we have a lot of impressions to share. We also have things like our real-world efficiency to share.
But now let's go ahead and close up the hood, because this SS includes a lot of exclusive exterior and interior elements.
Now, one of the most important parts about a performance SUV is the way it looks on the outside. And I have to say, we've shown this vehicle to quite a lot of our family and friends, and it has been very well received. Everyone really liked the way it looked, even despite it being finished in this very controversial habanero orange paint color. Now, up here in the front, what they've done is kind of blacked out a lot of the elements to add a lot of contrast. The SS is, of course, the most aggressive Blazer EV you can get, so most of it is going to be finished in a gloss black, and of course you have your SS branding right up here front and center. Now, lighting is also going to be an important part for this model, so you have a full-length light bar that goes all the way across the front, an illuminated bow tie logo, and of course every element in here is LED as well, so that includes your LED projector headlights, low and high beam, and your turn signal indicator up top. We found those headlights to work quite well at nighttime. Now, the wheels are also an important element, and checking these out, we have some really big wheels. These are 22-inch alloys as standard on the SS model. They look really fantastic, and they have the nice contrast design to them. This, of course, is the largest wheel size that you can get in the Blazer EV lineup. You can also get summer performance tread wrapped around it, and we have Brembo brakes standard on the SS model with the SS branding inside. It's finished in a beige-like color. Now, heading up, you'll find your charge port. It is worth noting this vehicle is not switched to NACS charging yet, so it's just your CCS charger for now. And then let's take a look at our mirrors. We have a gloss black finish on board, and since this is a high-end version of the Blazer EV, we have all of the equipment as standard equipment: blind spot monitoring, auto dimming, power folding, and heating. Now, as far as the vehicle length, it's 192.2 inches, and as far as design, we have a pretty stylish look here at the side. Most of the reason for that is because we have the blacked out roof option. It really looks good with this paint color. We also have blacked out roof rails up top, and then all of your lower moldings are finished in a gloss black. And then heading around to the rear, once more, I think this really has a good look to it. It's sporty, yet also not too crazy in its overall design. So break down some of the individual touches. We have a spoiler up here at the top. We do have a rear window wiper, although it is very small. As far as the lighting, that's going to be punctuating the sides. These are full LED tail lights. They also have animations as well. So as you unlock the vehicle, it'll do kind of a welcome sequence. Our Blazer branding, and then dropping down to the lower fascia, all of this is going to be finished in that gloss black. You have your LED reverse lights integrated down here, and we have a more aggressive diffuser finish for the SS model, but be aware it can't tow. For safety, you are going to have all of your active safety features as standard equipment for this model. And for the SS model, you will also have standard Super Cruise. We really love Super Cruise, and we found overall operation to be incredibly smooth and seamless this week. But we have a lot to talk about when it comes to the interior as well. But first, if you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We started young, and since then, we've reviewed over 2,000 cars at every price point.
And if you want to know about all the latest and greatest rides, then make sure to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family.
Let's learn a lot and have some fun with all the newest cars.
Now let's hop on into the cabin of the Blazer EV, but first let's start with your key fob. It's going to be GM's typical key fob, has a nice feel in the hand, and it does have standard smart entry as well as cabin preconditioning. And to hop inside, you just press on this little silver button to unlock the door. I do like that you have sensors on all 4 of your doors for this Blazer. But go ahead and take a look at this EV/SS's cabin because you're going to notice some exclusive elements for this top-end model. But first, let's start out with the seating materials. On the SS model, you're going to have a Evotex and suede mixed seat. So this is a leatherette, but it's a very high quality leatherette. We like this material for this model. You're going to have a gray with some orange accents and black as well with some SS branding up in the seat. Orange contrast stitching. Overall, it has a really sporty look. You can also go for a red if you would like as well. You're going to have a 10-way power adjusting seat on all models. And then up in the door trim, you're also going to have memory. But let's go ahead and dive on inside to talk about the rest of the details. Now, before I close the door all the way, I do want to mention that the seats overall are very comfortable. We found them easy to live with throughout this week. But when it comes to the extra bolstering for this performance model, we did find it to be a little lackluster, and we will talk more about that later on in the test drive. But let me go ahead and close up the door, and we will go ahead and start out with talking about some interior materials. So if you want to look over here at the door trim, you have a good mix of a lot of materials. You have some suede down here, as well as some leatherette with some stitching detail, a little bit of a plastic trim with a carbon fiber-esque look, and then you have more soft touch up here with stitching detail. Soft all the way across the dash, more leatherette detail with stitching, some more plastic trim and suede. A lot of material diversity throughout this cabin, but it fits very well together, and overall we really like the mix between sport and luxury. Now to start it up, you either have it turn on when you close the door or put your foot on the brake. Now, before I walk through all of the individual interior features, I do just want to mention the SS, being the top-end model in the Blazer EV lineup, has pretty much everything as standard. So instead of really talking about the different options between the different levels, I'm going to really focus on what you get in this SS model, as well as our impressions with it over the last week. Beginning with that, let's start out with the gauge cluster. You do have a standard 11-inch fully digital gauge cluster on all models. We love the GM gauge cluster because on the steering wheel, you can go through some of the different views that you can choose from, including putting Google Maps in the cluster itself. Up above, you also do have a head-up display that has very clear quality, a lot of customization as well, and we really found it easy to live with over the past week. Headed back to the steering wheel, you have a leather-wrapped one with orange stitching detail for the SS, as well as a flat bottom design. This is also going to be heated for the SS. Now, perhaps our favorite element about the Blazer EV's interior is interior storage, and the SS does not differ from the rest of the models despite having increased performance. But let's start here with the center console. When I open up the very long lid, you will see a ton of donuts inside because donuts are our emblem, and we do the donut test in every single model we test to figure out how much center console storage there is. This Blazer EV has 17 donuts in total. That is a ton and really beats a lot of the other options you could be choosing from, especially on the gas side. But that does not stop there with the storage. You have a wireless phone charger here, 2 cup holders, and then there's another cubby up here. And when I slide this back, you have another super deep tunnel with 2 USB ports right there. I can fit like almost my entire arm in there. It is really a fantastic space overall when it comes to storage. That is courtesy of your electronics shifter. Usual GM design, you pull back and down for drive, back and up for reverse. And when in reverse, you do have a standard 360-degree camera. It's really good quality and resolution, although I wish it filled out the screen just a little bit more. Just press on the end of the stalk for park. And let's go ahead and focus over at the climate controls here. Happy to say you do have some physical controls. It's kind of a mix in between the screen as well as these toggles right here. But all of your major functions do have physical controls as well as your vent speed. And you do also have your screen toggles for your standard heated and ventilated seats on this model. But let's go ahead and talk about this overall display itself. It is a 17.7-inch display. It is running GM's latest software, which has standard Google built in, as you can see on the map right there. And you're going to have a bunch of different widgets that you can go through. Performance is really great and snappy. The only thing is, since this is a GM EV, this does not have Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. So overall, our phone's connected well, we can play our Bluetooth music, but we do wish we would just have the ability to go have our Apple CarPlay and Android Auto to just have that functionality that a lot of customers desire. One additional element you get with this model is a 8-speaker Bose audio system, so let's go ahead and sample that out. Now, we are glad that Chevy has added a branded sound system to the Blazer EV, so it is good to have, but we do wish there were a few more speakers to further increase the clarity of the audio quality. Now, wrapping up the cabin, you do have a standard auto-dimming mirror. The SS gets the camera ability, which we like to use. And then up top, you do have an optional panoramic sunroof on all models. It does have a sunshade that slides forward and back, and once it gets all the way back, you will see that the glass does open up as well, which is not guaranteed, especially in an EV product like this.
And let's talk about the rear seat area for this model. Now, when it comes to space, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. We're sitting at 39 inches of both leg and headroom. Those are really good space figures, guys. And of course, we brought along the official Car Confections ruler. The reason we do that is so we can get a realistic knee room figure. This seat is actually adjusted to my own 5'9" driving position. And look at that. We are looking at about 10.5 inches of knee room. That is absolutely fantastic. My feet can slide up underneath of the seat. Really, this is a very spacious rear seat. So unless you're incredibly tall, you'll have plenty of room back here. The seats are quite comfortable. The headroom is just ever so slightly lacking, so keep that in mind. And there's not really any bolstering here in the rear, so you will definitely be sliding around if you do some aggressive driving. If you fold down the center armrest, we have 2 cup holders inside. And then for features, we have the same vent design as in the front. It's the cool style that you can just kind of twist around, just like the Camaro used to have. And then we have 2 USB-C ports down below, as well as heated back seats. Those are standard on the SS Blazer. Now, turning over to the door trim, we have a pretty nice one. It's a hard touch plastic, but it's a little bit more premium than just a scratchy hard touch plastic. And then in the center section, we have a leatherette as well as some suede. There is also quite a bit of bottle storage here in the back, and these rear seats do recline just a little bit, not a lot, but they do recline a little bit for extra comfort. Now, walking up to the tailgate, we have a hands-free power one. And what about the space in this model? Well, we're sitting at 25 cubic feet of space behind the second row of seats. If we fold those seats down, we're looking at about 60 cubic feet, around 59 to be exact. The seats fold at 60-40 split. There are not any handles to do it from the cargo area, but it's easy enough to just kind of reach up here and fold the seat. And well, as I said, it was easy. I'm on my tippy toes, but you can fold those seats down pretty easily, and they do fold completely flat with the floor to get you that maximum 60 cubic feet of capacity. That's pretty similar to its rivals, and if you compare it to some gasoline options, that's also going to be quite similar. Now, speaking of comparing this to some gas options, we'd encourage you to go to carconfections.com/vehicle rankings, because we've looked at numerous vehicle segments, including the 2-row gasoline segment, and you can see and sort based on the categories that might be most important to you among all of the options in the segment. Things like cargo capacity, interior technology, luxury features, powertrain choices, as well as safety and reliability are all detailed there for you. So if you want to make an informed buying decision, definitely go ahead and use our tool at carconfections.com/vehicle rankings. Now back to this model, let's get our cargo length, width, and height figures. As far as the cargo length behind my own 5'9" driving position, we're looking at 74 inches of length. From behind the second row of seats, about 31 inches. It's 46 inches wide. And we have about 26 inches as our height there. The height's going to be a little bit shorter than your average SUV, so keep that in mind. And then the load-in height is about 30 inches. This is a very sporty SUV, so because of that, it has a little bit of a lower roof. Down below, we have extra storage space underneath, so that's pretty nice. No spare tire on this. There's room for your charging cable, and there's also not a frunk on this model. Well, guys, here we are behind the wheel of the Blazer EV SS. In this test drive, we're going to be discussing quite a lot, as you can see on the screen right now. We'll also be getting things like our sound level reading and discussing our real-world efficiency for this model. But first, we need to start with a hard acceleration. Just like that, we are well past 60 miles per hour. In the Blazer EV SS. This is the fast one, as you can see from that acceleration there. Now, we were in the sport mode with the wide open watts, the WOW, turned on, which really unlocks the most performance that this vehicle has. To be exact, 615 horsepower, 650 pound-feet of torque. That is just absolutely incredible amounts of power. Chevy was quick to brag that this is the quickest and fastest version of an SS product that they've ever made. It goes 0 to 60 in 3.4 seconds. And it's enough to kind of almost like take your breath when you first accelerate there.
Oh yeah, the torque really just pushes you right into the back of your seat, and it definitely takes a second to regain your breath after that.
Definitely very fast.
You definitely feel the jolt when you're a passenger because you never know when that's going to happen. Well, if that's not exactly your groove and you want something a little bit different, I have good news for you. The Blazer EV comes in multiple different power and drivetrain configurations. I'm not going to go through all the power figures. You can see those on the screen right now. But one of the most versatile things about this model is that you have both all-wheel drive, front-wheel drive, and rear-wheel drive configurations for this model, depending on your price preference, your power preference, and your range preferences. So it's a lot of versatility that I really like, that is a good benefit of having an EV platform.
Yeah, and one of the things about this is also you have two different battery pack sizes. So the SS comes with the 102 kilowatt hour lithium ion battery pack. So that is the bigger battery size. However, some of your lower priced examples come with a smaller battery pack size as well to get you that lower price point. And like Josh said, one of the really cool things about this is you just have that insane level of customizability depending on what your needs are. But now that we're done just doing all of the hard accelerations, let's talk about overall ride quality. So the privilege of living with a vehicle for a full week means you can drive it over all types of pavement and different road textures and surfaces to get a good feel of the ride. Overall, I've been pretty impressed with the way this vehicle rides. It is going to be on the stiffer side compared to other versions of the Blazer EV. That being said, it's far from being an uncomfortable option. Namely, these seats are the exact same seats from the other Blazer model, which I have a problem with. I'll talk about that when it comes to performance, but they're really comfortable for just kind of cruising down the highway like this. And even though you have the 22-inch wheels on the outside, there's not a ton of intrusion inside of the cabin. So I think you'll be pretty pleasantly surprised, especially if you put on Super Cruise and just kind of start cruising down the highway.
Yeah, we talked about this throughout the week. I think you could easily go from one of the less powerful versions of the Blazer into this SS model and be perfectly comfortable.
So accelerating under the normal drive mode basically feels like the other Blazer EVs that we've lived with. It's not overly hardcore. You have to go into the WOW mode really to get the super hard-edged 615 horsepower.
But let's go ahead and do our sound level reading at 55 miles an hour to go ahead and see how quiet this cabin is. We do have it on fan speed 1. Very nice. After the bridge there, we settled in at 55 decibels even for this Blazer EV SS. And I don't have to sit here and guess how it compares to all of its rivals. I will go to carconfections.com/sound level readings. Now overall, that is a very good sound level reading. It is on the quieter end when it comes to electric vehicles and on par with other Blazer EV models we've tested. Just note, if you want something even quieter, you are starting to get into that price range in which you could get a Cadillac Lyriq.
But we've made it to the country road portion of our drive, so let's talk about overall driving dynamics. Alright, so when it comes to the overall drive experience of the SS Blazer EV, it's going to be pretty good. Now, there's a couple things worth noting. So the steering, let's start with that. It's very fast responding. You get the immediate response as soon as you turn off center. Also, because it's an electric product, the lower center of gravity I do really appreciate. You can feel that this vehicle is a bit heavy, so there is some body roll that will take place, especially if you go through a corner like that very quickly. And you can kind of just tell that even in the sport drive mode, even though we have a stiffer sport tune suspension for the SS model, that this is not really a super hardcore, sporty vehicle. It still has an air of refinement to it, which I think is honestly not a terrible move on Chevy's part. I imagine most people aren't going to be like taking this to the track or anything. So I think it's a good mix between sport and comfort dynamics, but just know it's not going to be super hard-edged.
And another thing we would like Chevy to add to this model is just some adjustable bolsters here for the seat. You might have seen me holding on for dear life when Mason was going around those corners, just because the seats are very flat. Even though they're comfortable, they don't hold you in place very well. So just having some additional adjustability would be very useful. And we have talked to the Chevy team about this, and it sounds like it could be a potential on the horizon if you would like to wait for that.
Now, also important for an EV is range, so let's hit that. We're sitting at 303 miles of range for this model. In the SS configuration, I'm pretty happy to tell you that's over 300 miles in the performance variant. Things like the Ioniq 5N are certainly a lot less when it comes to range. And you can see the full lineup of ranges on the screen right now. The SS is not the highest range, but you can get a couple that have, I think, around 320 miles of range, so that's something to keep in mind. Your charger is a CCS charger, has not been updated to the newest NACS charging.
And you can see those speeds on the screen right now as far as how quickly you can get from 10 to 80%. But I do want to talk about the overall usability. We have been living with this Blazer EV SS for the past week. So did it really live up to that overall range? Well, as you can see on the screen right now, that is our recorded usability before recording this review. And we sat at an average of about 2.7 miles per kilowatt. So when you multiply it by the 102 kilowatt hour battery capacity that you have, you're going to be sitting at an overall real world range of 275 miles. So that is below what the EPA has rated it for. But of course, we have been doing some hard accelerations, but our conditions have been very balanced overall when it comes to living with it this week.
Yeah, I think you would be sitting at right around that EPA estimate. 275 miles is, like you said, our real-world experienced range, and we've been driving it kind of hard, despite it being really nice weather outside. And I think that is a great segue into our slam dunk today. Our favorite element about the Blazer EV SS is just the overall livability and practicality of this model. There's a ton of storage, there's a ton of room in the rear, and really going for the SS, you're not sacrificing any of that. And even the ride quality is not hardcore, and it's easy to control the 615 horsepower if you don't want it. So this is a very everyday practical vehicle.
Yep. And on the airball side of things, we've said it once, we're going to say it again. We wish that GM would go and add back CarPlay and Android Auto for the infotainment. Like I said, it's okay living with this system, but we just wish we had the usability to, make phone calls a little bit easier, check our text, things like that, to add that overall functionality.
And do we like it better, the same, or worse after living with it? Well, we're going to have to say the same. We got a good first impression of this model, and really living with it didn't change that. It's practical, it's fast, and really there's not a lot to dislike about this car, but there's not really anything that really stood out to us this week. And let's talk pricing. So the Blazer EV starts at around $44,000 this year. That's for the base LT front-wheel drive. The SS all-wheel drive is going to be the highest price version, as expected. $60,600 is your base price. If you want one optioned like what we have, you can see that on the screen right now. It's going to be sitting at around $64,000. Do be aware this vehicle did qualify for the tax credit, but that expires on September 30th. So that is, not much longer at the time of us filming this video. This vehicle is assembled in Mexico, and if you're looking to buy one or any new vehicle, we'd encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. The reason you do that is because we have a tool on our website that will connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool to use while negotiating. If you'd like to take advantage of that, as well as things like our monthly payment tool, you can find a link to that in our video description, as well as a pinned comment down below. Buying a vehicle is about more than just the original MSRP, so let's talk about resale and reliability. First up, let's talk about resale value. As an economics graduate myself, we took the time to develop what we think is a good estimate for this Blazer EV SS's potential resale value. We estimate that after 5 years and 60,000 miles, it'll be worth 54.7% of original MSRP, and after 10 years and 120,000 miles, 20.4%. Now, it's worth noting those are actually above industry average for all vehicle makes. However, one thing worth noting is the fact that this is an electric product, which can negatively impact your resale value. It just depends on market conditions.
Now, we've also done the same thing for reliability by creating the Combined Reliability Index, which takes into account a variety of trusted automotive resources to give you a more holistic picture. In this regard, Chevy is rated well above the overall industry average in comparison to all vehicle makes.
Now, if you'd like to learn more about our resale values, our reliability data, or our methodology, be sure to go to carconfections.com/resale and carconfections.com/reliability. Buying a new vehicle is a very big decision, so you want to make sure you're making a smart purchase, especially if you're cross-shopping between different vehicle brands. Now, as far as your warranty is concerned, you do have a pretty decent one. It's a 3-year, 36,000-mile basic warranty, a 5-year, 60,000-mile powertrain warranty. The battery specifically is warranted for 8 years and 100,000 miles, and you do get a complimentary service visit for 1 year. And guys, that wraps up our in-depth 7-day review of the Blazer EV SS. If you enjoyed listening to our impressions of this model, we'd really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, you're going to be a part of our Car Confections family. We have a lot of fun on this channel, and you're also going to help us to get more cars like this to live with for a full week. If you're already a part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.